Welcome to the Instant Tennis Review for class number 2. This is the review that the players receive after they have attended the second lesson in the series. In the first section of our Lesson 2 review, we'll go over the important considerations for improving consistency on our ground strokes. Remember to create a stroke path with a high to low to high swing. This is done to create topspin. Remember that topspin is used to keep more balls in play. It allows us to hit the ball higher over the net, hit with a faster speed, but with the spin pulling the ball down to the court before it can go beyond the baseline. Remember to extend the racket face through the hitting zone to create a long striking path where the racket face points at the target for a longer period of time. Remember to keep your head still and keep your eye contact on the ball at all times throughout the whole stroke. Hold the finish of your stroke for a 1-2 count to ensure that you've transferred your weight properly. If you haven't, you'll feel off balance. Go for a high net clearance. And finally, remember to hit cross court more than you hit down the line. The court is longer from corner to corner. Next, we'll go over the considerations for improving placement and accuracy on ground strokes. Remember to have an idea of what your target will be for each shot. The easiest way to start is to think, am I hitting the ball down the line or am I hitting it cross court? On forehands, remember to extend your palm outward toward your target, keeping it pointing where you'd like the ball to go as you swing through the ball. On the backhand, move the knuckles of your dominant hand toward the target to create the same long stroke pattern. Step in toward your target with your front foot or lead foot. This will create a little bit more open body position when hitting cross court and a slightly more closed one when hitting down the line. When you want the ball to land deeper in the court, try to think higher equals deeper. So focus on a higher net clearance. Remember to learn from your mistakes and make necessary corrections. Examples would be, is the palm of my hand too open, creating an open or more closed racket face? Am I stepping toward my target? Is my racket face pointing in the direction I'd like the ball to go? The key to developing control and placement is repetition. So think of the court on the opposite side as 4 squares, the 2 service boxes, and then think about extending the center service line back to the baseline. Now as you hit a series of shots, think about hitting to each of the 4 quadrants of the court. If you do this, you will achieve the consistency and accuracy you're looking for. The new stroke that we introduced in class number 2 is the serve. These are some of the important considerations to think about for your serve. First is the grip. The advanced service grip is the continental grip, where you place the base knuckle of the index finger on bevel or flat edge number 2 along with the heel of the hand. Next, stand behind the baseline with your front foot pointing toward the net post and your back foot parallel to the baseline. Feet should be about shoulder width apart and the hitting hand cradling the throat or head of the racket as you prepare to serve. Next, you'll prepare to toss the ball. Remember that you would like to keep the ball toss out in front and slightly to your right if you're a right-handed player, slightly to the left if a left-handed player. As the stroke begins, the hands drop and the ball is tossed. As your swing begins and the arms drop, reach up to hit the ball up and out in front just as in a throwing motion. Contact with your arm fully extended and the racket arm up in the air like a high five, and keeping your chin up and looking up where the contact is taking place. As the follow-through completes, your weight will transfer, racket will be under your opposite side, with your non-hitting hand crossing in front of your body. Some practice recommendations after class number 2 are to continue to practice your drop and hit ground strokes. Turn, let the ball drop, and lift it up and over the net. Even better is to practice with a partner, where you can do the drop hit to a catch. This gives us time to practice the sending and receiving skills required in the game of tennis. After a while, come to the net and practice volleys while the other player continues to practice their drop hits. Don't forget to practice that serve, as the toss can be quite tricky, so we recommend just even practicing at home some tossing and catching the ball. In this next section, we'll go over common words or phrases that you're going to hear around the club or on the court. The ace is a serve that's hit with such good placement or with enough speed that the receiver can't even get their racket on it. Baseline play refers to two players playing in the backcourt, usually near the baseline. The chair umpire is an official that sits in a high chair next to the court that enforces the rules and calls the score in a match. Usually, we'll see this when we watch on television. The double fault is when two serves are missed in a row and results in loss of point for the server. The fault is any serve that lands outside the designated service box or doesn't make it over the net. It's also a fault if you swing and miss the ball completely. Next is FBI. FBI stands for first ball in, usually only done in a social tennis match. This is when the player gets to serve until the ball goes in the court before the point starts. Often only done the first time a player serves in the match. The foot fault. This is when the server steps on the line or into the court before touching the ball. Remember that you can also foot fault on the center mark or on the sideline. 5 all. This is an abbreviated term for 15 all. So 5 means 15 in this instance. Another scoring abbreviation is 45. 45 means 40-15. You also might hear the term 35. 35 would mean 30-15. Or 5-30, that would mean 15-30. Just an abbreviation for the term 15 when scoring. The Grand Slam is winning all 4 major tournaments in the same calendar year. This can be done in singles or doubles. The 4 major tournaments, known as the Grand Slam tournaments, are the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open. Finally, playing in the zone. When you're in the zone, it feels like you can't miss. One of the best places to be in the game of tennis. In this next section, we'll go over a few more words and phrases that you'll hear on the court. First is the let. There are 2 types of lets. The service let is when the server serves the ball and as it's traveling over the net, it clips the white tape on top, but still lands in the proper service box. When this happens, the server gets to serve that ball over. The second type of let is just an interruption in play. The most common being playing a point, having the ball roll in from the court next door, and because of the hazard that this creates, play is stopped by one of the players calling out loud let, and then you play it over. Think of remembering the phrase, let's do it again. Next is love. Love is used in scoring and means you have 0 points or 0 games. If you're interested in how this came about, ask your pro why we use love and how the French word for egg is involved. Net play. This is played in the front part of the court, usually using volleys and overheads. Nice get. This is a term that's used when a player is running for a very difficult shot and they successfully get it and hit it back over the net. You might hear your coach say, nice get. Not up. This is the term for when you're trying to chase that ball down and you don't quite get there in time and it bounces twice. When this happens, I should tell my opponent not up. Although in today's game, we often hear the word double bounce. Means the same thing, but is more commonly used. NTRP. This stands for the National Tennis Ratings Program and is universally used across the United States to gauge players' level of play. Most players fall within a range of 2.5 to 5.0, with most of the players being in the middle at the 3.5 to 4.0 level. The poach. This is used in doubles play when the player at the net crosses in front of their partner and takes the shot that looks like it should be going to their partner. We call this poaching. A pusher. This is referred to as a player that rarely misses but doesn't put a lot of pace on the ball. Usually pushers have a lot of trophies at their house because they keep the ball in play for a very long time. Although they might not be asked to a lot of social engagements because it's hard to play against them. The rally. The rally is a series or exchange of shots that two players hit back and forth over the net. Don't be confused with the term volley, which is an actual shot. A rally, it can be any shots, and a volley is a very specific shot. Seeding. This refers to tournament play, and you may hear this when you watch tennis on television. They may say this player is the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed is the player that is expected to be the best player of the tournament and possibly win the tournament. That's what the seeding is. The tiebreak. Tiebreak was invented to shorten matches. In the old days, you had to always win by 2 games. So if the score got tied 5-5, you'd have to win 7-5. Then it would go 6-6, you'd have to win 8-6, and so on and so forth. It could go on for a long time. So, back in the day, Jimmy Van Allen invented the tiebreak. This is a special game played when the score is 6-6, and both players get to serve, or all 4 players in doubles, and it decides who will win the set.